Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the Red Baron, and no, not the delicious pizza, but the World War I ace that fought for the Germans. Now, his actual name was Manfred von Richthofen, and he was born on May 2nd of 1892 to a Prussian noble family. Now, as a kid, he would grow up and was hunted the nearby lands with his brothers. And they would, once they got a great kill, they would bring back it as a trophy and hang it up in their castle. Yeah, castle. Isn't that fucking awesome? Castle. At the age of 11, he was sent off to a military school, and he really wasn't anything special. So in 1911, he graduated and was sent to the Allhan Regiment No. 1. And this was a horse cavalry thing. They were assigned to Russia, and he didn't do much. The most noticeable thing he did was lock up a Russian priest in his own bell tower. Shortly after that, they were transferred to the West Front, I should say. And the regiment spent most of the time behind lines, and this did not do Richthofen very well. He wrote the quartermaster saying that he's tired of this, he's not here just to sit around, he wants to fight, and then he asked to join a flying unit, and in 1915 his request was granted. And he was sent back with a flying unit to Russia, and, didn't do much. The Russians don't really have a flying force, so he spent most of his time on reconnaissance or bombing runs. He enjoyed this for a time, but he still was dissatisfied, so he complained again and was removed and went back to the Western Front. He was assigned to the backseat observer of Lieutenant Zummer, and they ended up patrolling the North Sea. His first encounter with the English airplane was September 15th of 1915. And during this encounter, Richthofen, being the backseat gunner, really didn't do much damage. And the Englishmen didn't really do any damage either. So Zummer was kind of upset, and he's like, "You're done." So Richthofen was transferred to the Champagne front. He flew with a pilot named Ostroth. He was then transferred to the Champagne front, where he flew with a pilot named Ostroth. With his ring-mounted machine gun, he managed to shoot down a Farman aircraft, but they couldn't credit it because the aircraft landed behind enemy lines. But this got him pumped, and his hunter instinct was just like, we got to get some more, He then was determined to become a pilot, so he went to pilot training in October of 1915, making his first solo on the 10th. But sadly, he damaged his plane on landing and had to take more training. On Christmas Day of 1915, he finally passed his exams. In March 1916, he joined the Kampfwetscharter 2, which that's definitely not how you probably pronounce it, but he joined them before Verdun, and he learned how to handle fighting two-seater airplanes. Now, this two-seater was an Albatros B-2 reconnaissance plane. He then strapped a machine gun on the upper wing, and this wasn't normal for the time. So it's April 26th on a beautiful day over Verdun. He spots a French Nieuport and opened fires at 60 yards. He struck the Frenchman, and the Frenchman dived into the French lines, and so they could not claim it as his first kill. Sadly, after this, they sent him back to the Russian front, and like I said earlier, there's not much to do there other than reconnaissance and a few bombing runs. Luckily, in August, he met the great ace Oswald Bolkic, if that's how you pronounce it. But this guy had 40 kills under his belt already. He was on the east recruiting flyers for his new Josta unit. After a brief interview, Bolkic took Richthofen back with him to the Somme. The Somme was pretty much British Airways, and there was no going through. Luckily, on the morning of the 17th, Bullock led his squadron up and spotted the English planes first. Now, he led them and maneuvered behind them, and in Richthofen's own words, this is how it goes. A fraction of a second, I was at his back with my excellent machine. I gave a few bursts with my machine gun. I had gone so close that I was afraid I might dash into the Englishmen. Suddenly, I nearly yelled with joy, for his propeller had stopped turning. I had shot his engine to pieces. The enemy was compelled to land, for it was impossible to reach his own lines. The English machine was curiously swinging to and fro. Probably something had happened to the pilot. The observer was no longer visible. His machine was apparently deserted. Obviously, I had hit the observer, and he had fallen in his seat. The Englishman landed close to one of our squadrons. I was so excited that I landed also, and in my eagerness, I nearly smashed up my machine. The English airplane and my own stood close together. I had shot the engine to pieces, and both the pilot and the observer were severely wounded. The observer died at once, and the pilot while being transported to the nearest dressing station. I honored the fallen enemy by placing a stone on his beautiful grave. Now, for the next month or so, the Josta II made a field day of the Somme battlefield. But sadly, Bullock had a collision with another German flyer and was killed in action. Richthofen carried the Great Ace's decorations on a pillow in his funeral. But by November 9th, Richthofen had increased his score to 10. On November 23rd, Richthofen bagged his largest game yet. His name was Major Hawker, and he was a distinguished British ace. Now, Major Hawker saw and went to attack some German two-seaters, and Richthofen came in from behind and wounded the two lieutenants that was with Hawker, and they flew and was able to escape, but Hawker stayed to fight. And this is Richthofen's own words about it. Speed is terrific. Hawker starts back for his front. He knows my gun barrel is trained on him. He starts to zigzag, making sudden darts right and left, confusing my aim and making it difficult to train my gun on him. But the moment is coming. I am 50 yards behind him. My machine gun is firing insistently. We are hardly 50 yards above the ground, just skimming it. Now I am within 30 yards of him. He must fall. The gun pours out its stream of lead. Then it jams. Then it reopens fire. That jam almost saved his life. One bullet goes home. He is struck through the back of the head. His plane jumps and crashes down. It strikes the ground just as I swoop over. His machine gun jammed itself into the earth. And now it decorates the entrance over my door in the family castle. He was a brave man, a sportsman, a fighter. Now, with Richthofen's other kills that he started doing, he sent a letter to a Berlin silversmith to make a plain silver cup for just 2 inches high, engraved briefly with the aircraft and date of his victory. Alright guys, I think I'm going to cut it there. I'm about halfway through the Red Baron, and this video is almost over, so I figured I'd make it a two-parter. I really hope you guys like this history stuff. Like I said before, I'm a big fan, and if you guys have anything at all, it doesn't even have to be military history. I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing conspiracy theories and whatnot. So if you guys have anything at all, please comment below, give it a like if you enjoyed it. And yeah, so you guys know what to do. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz, and y'all have a good day.
We lost C. A secure. Enemy has B. Enemy UAV above. We're winning. Enemy has C. Our UAV is online. Enemy taking A. Enemy UAV online. Securing B. Incoming enemy care package. incoming. Securing C. Enemy care package incoming. Launching care package. Friendly assault drone inbound. Securing Charlie. Enemy warbird detected. Missile strike ready for launch. Charlie secure. Looks like you just added a few zeros to those bonus checks, gentlemen. Good work.